Hello people, and welcome back to part 54 of Ilos, our modded Cities Skylines build. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much again for all the support last week and across every single video that I upload recently. Just crazy support on the channel. It's so nice to be talking to so many of you and just getting the impression. Yeah, it's just so nice. Thank you for all the support. And we have named our stadium last time into the Amex Arsenal Arena, which of course is a fantastic Mass Effect reference. Perfect for a stadium, and I've actually saw something on Reddit of someone using the new intersection marking tool functionality to decorate the stadium. So that's what we're going to start out with today's episode. So let's go into IMT, and then I like to draw across the middle ones here. Okay, we'll draw this in. Now IMT has a new functionality called text, okay, which is really cool. So I'm going to place in Armax, okay, you will see that come in there, and then the text now appears on the road. There's several options we can do here. We can flip it around if we wanted to. So let's go for minus 90 degrees, okay? And then we can shift this around exactly the same as we can with all that IMT. But it's incredibly cool, isn't it? It really is cool. You can change the directions of the text so it flows in different areas. It's just so cool. You can move the character spacing and lining. It's just a very cool functionality. So I want to repeat this line on each side, really. Okay, so let's actually copy this text rule first. Then we'll do another one. Then we'll paste that in, and this time I'm just going to change this to Arsenal. I guess it makes sense to capitalize it all, doesn't it? And then, of course, finally, we want to do the last one. We'll copy this one again. Then what we will have is text in our car park that now looks like it's been purposely vinyled onto the tarmac, so it matches with the stadium. This is so cool. Like, intersection marking tool just keeps adding these little features that make it the most interesting mod. Like, just so fun. So many possibilities as well, right? You could, you know, mark up some graffiti. Maybe some of the aliens have left some graffiti somewhere on the street. Right? There's endless possibilities with that. So we'll definitely have this across all of our car parks, so it's like it's been branded, you know, the Amex Arsenal Arena. So if we wanted to, I wonder if we could actually click this entire intersection. Let's copy it over. And then can we just paste it onto this one next door? Yes, we can. Isn't IMT just fantastic, everyone? What a wonderful feature. Okay, so of course you can take inspiration from the real world. Sort of painted decals like this now are massively possibility. You can change the font as well, just so cool, right? So thank you, Casino, for naming of the Amex Arsenal Arena. Fantastic Mass Effect reference. And that's perfect for a stadium. Well, in today's episode, we are heading all the way over the other side of the Mar grid, right across Main Street, all through these spaces, and there's lots of fun to be had over here, because we have this empty lake space where I would actually like to terminate the Main Street tram line that does come out here. We need to do some work with this, and then some hotels. Lots of nice recreational and sort of beach vibes to be had along here, along this stretch of Lake Havasu's waterfront. And it should be a pretty interesting build to piece together, I think. So let's see what we can do with the touristic waterfront, shall we? Okay, so let's start the build off by patching in the tram line, because it's going to be really important to the build. So I want this place today to kind of function like sort of the place, you know, Slurms Mackenzie would come on holiday. Kind of like a cool sort of spring break beach sort of vibe. So that's what we're going to see if we can do. So let's come up by 5. Okay, we'll start creating some 5 curves here. And then I'm just going to meander with the sandstone road pretty much to about here, I think. Let's go ahead and line ourselves up some more tram road with a road guideline on the other side so we know where we're going to land. We also need to have a ferry stop over here as well, so we'll need to factor that in. So I think what I'd like to do here with the tram road, rather than just turning it into kind of a regular turnaround point, which we've done a million times before, why don't we see if we can actually factor this into the road network and feed it kind of around this intercity bus stop here, which is getting tourists, so it'd be a nice little convergence point for the public transport. And then this should be okay, I think. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this. Let's come into our tram roads. And of course, a lot of these new tram roads probably should do a job for us. Why don't we go for this 4-lane road with tram tracks right here? That's going to be pretty sensible, I think, isn't it? Then we'll come down into the 2-lane one. Let's get the median in there as well. Then hopefully this isn't going to disturb our American sort of road infrastructure too much. Hopefully it won't. So let's go for 6-lane road decorative grass, which in our case is decorative sand. Cool, so that should complete the tram loop for us and allow us to turn it around, which you can now head all the way back down Main Street through the downtown and onto the waterfront near enough to the airport just by tram. Like, you can traverse like a good chunk of the city using this tram line now. It's absolutely enormous. Of course, this road here has to be re-node controlled now because it's been stretched a little bit too far, so let's do that while we're here. See if we can square everyone off, and then it's just going to be a case of closing our offset so everyone's happy. That seems pretty nice to me. Love how much of a difference node controller makes to these large intersections, right? It's so cool. Big fan of it. Anyway, let's grab our tram line. So we're currently over here. There we go. We can see where he wants to snap in now. So we'll have a stop on the waterfront. We'll of course have a stop. Where are you going here actually? Let's sort of evaluate what's going on. We don't want you to cross over yourself. So let's have a stop there. There we go. That way it doesn't cross at the intersection. And then we'll have 2 stops on the waterfront itself. And then again over this side before it resumes its journey back down Main Street. Let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing the first person perspective of that entire tram journey. It does go all the way to the waterfront, through downtown, up Main Street, and now onto Lake Havasu. So a really cool tram build, right? It's going to be tremendously exciting. Even though there's 2 different types of tram on the line, that's confusing. We don't know why that's happening. Let's ignore that. Hope that it fixes itself at least. Either way, there are trams now flowing along the waterfront. So first of all, I'd like to grab some roads. Yeah, I want the large avenue with grass, I think. So let's bring this down. Let's connect into here. Okay, so we can actually have some road connectivity for the area. And we'll probably have you meander down as well, I imagine, won't we? Yes, we will. I'd also like to have a more tropical, nicer, sort of holiday-looking tree here, perhaps. These stubby palms, we never really use these, do we? Do these look cute? Yeah, I think we can get away with those, right? So we've got those tropical beach vibe to them. Lets you know that there's a good time ahead, right? When you see this sort of road, look at him there. He has got a long old walk back to wherever he's going. He's going to trek all the way through the desert. Surely it's easier just to go over here. As if anything, that's highlighting a lack of walkability here, isn't it? This definitely wants a pathway. Interesting as well that that water has all of a sudden just started flowing again. Has anyone just noticed that? It wasn't flowing before. There you go, at least it's flowing now, right? Wonderful. Hold on a second. What the hell is that? Why is there a sailing boat? With the ferry line, what the hell? What are you doing? What's this? 5 capacity. What the hell? A ferry sailboat. I don't want that. Is there people waiting? Yes, there is. You can only take 5 at a time. Why has that happened? Is this the aliens? I'm not sure what's going on here. Don't know what's going on there. Let's just ignore that and carry on with today's build. Very random. But yes, anyway. So back to the build. So I've been thinking of using these assets in this fashion for quite a long time now. So let's see what's going to happen with it. So we'll bring up the first pattern of it here, I think. That's going to be good. So some of the Hearts of Korea low density residential assets, we've actually touched on this very briefly before during a live stream. If we can find it, here we go. So some of them in repeated patterns very much look like sort of condos and apartments, and very much kind of like an apart hotel vibe, right, that you'd see up against the lakefront. So I definitely want to see if we can bring those vibes in again today and work with some new ideas and new patterns to create a bit more of a touristic feel. So we'll see what happens with it. So let's scroll all the way down to Hearts of Korea. Yeah, so it's these ones here that I was thinking of. So if we were to piece 2 of them together, we're going to want to use Move It as well just to close that gap. So we get the 2 patterns together. So we could fuse them building for building, but we do get a little bit of clip in there. Which, is that massively noticeable? It's not really, is it? I don't think it is. Okay. But I love that aesthetic. I hope you guys do as well. So let's grab both of them. And then again, we can just drop them in. And then we'll just drag that final node up to the end. Something like that. Cool. That's very much what I was visualizing, okay? This kind of huge block of condos or apartments that are kind of second homes, if not holiday rentals for people to come and enjoy when they're sort of staying by the lake. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead and grab all of them again, and then we can probably, because we're so close to the road, is actually have this pattern just duplicated. Yeah, okay, and then that gives us some Nice little sort of condos as we come into this area here. Having this kind of road framed by the side wall of the condo is actually pretty cool, so I think we'll even go ahead and mirror this entire pattern on the opposite side of the road. So we see we've got a 23 unit road. Let's repeat that. Cool. So let's grab them all again, and then we can just drop them again on the other side. Now this should almost frame the entrance down onto the lake road here. Okay, when you're kind of coming down all these, you see all these sunbeds and apartments. You're like, this is it. We've arrived at the lake. This is a tremendous amount of fun. And then there we go. All right. Yes, please, everyone. So I'd definitely be averse to a little bit of grass here. Well, wouldn't be averse, rather, I should say. So why don't we see if we can paint in a little bit of astroturf in and around these condos here. Okay, and then we'll definitely leave the beach front as sand, of course. We'll definitely look for some grass around here. I definitely want to also try and make it look as though like the Ilos sort of city council have tried to fence off this horrible, nasty canal that's here as part of the infrastructure. Of course, as it flows out of Ilos over here as well. So that should be a pretty fun vibe to bring in. Lots of chain link fencing and kind of thick overgrowth here that they tried to hide it with. I guess we'll sort of see. All right. And I think some trees and flowers and whatnot in here should go a long way for us as well. But I'm pretty happy with it so far, I think. Starting to already maintain that holdymaker look, isn't it? Okay, so let's now come to create our kind of pedestrian beach recreation area, I think is the right word here. I think this spot here is going to be quite nice for it. And then we will feed this road over here down toward an eventual ferry stop, which we will factor into the build at some point. Okay, well that's not too bad. Let's grab ourselves a small road. Let's go for a little... actually, I think maybe the service road from the car park should probably be better here. Let's go for that one instead. Choose our service road. So we'll bring this out. And let's go for there. That should be okay. Actually, I wonder if we want to just break immediately off into car park here. Why not? And then we can have a little car park kind of parallel next to our tram line here, which will look quite nice once it's all filled in, of course. I think I'm happy with that. Because we have a plane here as well, which was definitely placed during the lakefront episode, but we'll address that in a second. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to stay in the build yet. But either way, we'll throw in some car parking. We'll get some disabled action in here as well. There we go. And then can we node control this off as well so you're all straight? There we go. Yes, we can. And then same thing here as well. Let's straighten everyone off and also hide those markings as well. Looks a little bit awkward, doesn't it? Cool. So we got a little bit of parking here now. Let's come into our lake. So there's a couple of different sort of lakefront assets that are always firm favourites, right? These come into our tourism ones. We have skate park. Always a good shout. Drop this here. Then also beach volleyball court as well. And not forgetting... Do you want fishing tours here? I don't think this would really be a fishing lake, would it? Not with all the boats on it, maybe. And planes landing on it. Can't imagine it's great for fishing. Definitely imagine some jet skis over here, I think. Right. So we'll have a jet ski in. And then definitely a marina. There's lots of boats on the lake. Possibly get a riding stable around here as well somewhere, maybe. Maybe a little bit further down. I'll leave that there as a reminder that we actually want to use the riding stable here. I think it has a nice little vibe to it, doesn't it? Cool. So let's start piecing together a little lakefront here. Let's grab our skate park and we'll connect this into things over here. Let's hide our warnings so we can see. Make sure we're maintaining a connection. That's going to be great for me. How much do you need to be connected before you actually come down? Okay, we'll see about that. I definitely don't want the concrete on this, so let's use our clipping feature to remove the concrete off of it. There we go. And then let's just have you up on the corner. Let's see if we can grab the restaurant here. And because we've got to move it now, it should just be a little case of sitting that down into a level that we're happy with. How about there? I think that's going to be pretty cool, isn't it? Have that there. I'm just going to look over to our lake as well. The roller coaster makes a great waterfront asset here as well from the amusement park stuff. And then again, we have the boats, but I have to drag them really high up here to get a road connection, so maybe we should use these elsewhere. I think we will. I think we'll put the marina and the jet skis elsewhere. They're definitely trying to be forced into this area. It doesn't feel quite natural with it. And I think we can definitely afford some surface painting here. With some concrete between the car park and the pedestrian road. And this would be a great choice for some planters, a few benches in here as well. And then we shouldn't need the workshop anymore to create some sun lounges, because of course we had a fair amount of them drop with the mid-century modern pack. So we could just have maybe some of these out here. Is this too steep for a beach maybe? I can't even see the props. There we go. It's very hard to spot them on the sand. I don't think it's too steep, is it? I think we can get away with that, I think. Definitely drop in some umbrellas See if that helps the aesthetic. Admittedly, it's quite hard to see those props on the sand. I guess the alternative here would be to surface paint it, wouldn't it? Yeah, we could give it that sort of sand. That makes them stand out a lot more, doesn't it? And I guess that sort of makes more sense like a beach, doesn't it? It's like it's sort of compressed sand that's been stepped on and walked on many years and isn't kind of wild sand, I guess is the way I would describe that, right? And then with the edge here, we can probably just paint up and then use some sort of beach overgrowth to tie it off a little bit. Possibly. Let's go into Park Life and get some ice cream stands around here too. We do have the ice cream van from Park Life, which would be a great addition up nearby the road. Get a few of these in maybe. There's also the Plaza's food trucks as well, definitely up nearby the skate park here. Get some of those in. I feel like I want a little bit of railing between the beach and the car park, I don't know why. For some reason, that is speaking to me. Yeah, just a little railing there between the beach and the car park. But that's kind of the impression I want, right? There you go, there's a spy sample right there. So we have the pedestrian road, then our concrete where we can get some benches and covers from the sun. Our kind of beach car park in here, and then a little beach area down where people can come and grab a sun lounger and whatnot. I think I'd actually like to also install a little kiosk almost, is where people can maybe come and pay for a bed. Obviously it's kind of like super touristy. They're really trying to make the sort of most bang for the buck here. So let's see what we could possibly do. Yeah, maybe there's just one guy up here by the kiosk who's charging like $5 for an hour on the bed. If anyone's ever been to Hyde Park in London, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. Those guys that go around charging you to lie down on the grass. Yeah, so I think now it's just about creating these little spots of personality and detail all on the beachfront to help complement our condos, and eventually we should have a pretty convincing beach area here. I can see just from the aesthetic of looking at it straight on now that I want the beach to extend this side down as well. So we'll definitely paint out more of that beachfront, and then we'll get in some props and whatnot during today's episode, which would be fantastic. It would also be really nice if we could possibly get maybe a vanilla walking pathway here, so people are actually walking on the beach. Can we do that? So we might be able to. If I bring it in there, delete the food truck for right now, but hopefully that gives a connection that people will use. We'll just have to wait and see. Because if we get people walking on the beach, then that is me being the happiest of all the eggs, I think. But I like the idea. I like the premise here. It's not too bad. Let's go ahead now and get the ferries hooked in as well, because I want the ferries to stop here, or the sailboats, I guess I should say. A little nip back to Google Earth to find out exactly what's happening along Lake Havasu, and there's already vibes that we've implemented here. Okay, we've got our skate park against the beach with the car park, but there's a lot more car parks along the sort of touristic area of Havasu here, and they kind of keep flowing along service roads, and then car park will appear before the service road carries on, and then more car parks with more beaches. So definitely more car parking is something we want to bring along here. And we also get a sense of the tree palette here as well. And hopefully we can get a street view and just kind of see exactly how many trees we're playing with, right? Definitely some gum tree vibes over here, okay? And then lots of palms up and against the beach. But definitely car parking right up against that waterfront is something that we see a lot in Havasu. And something that we want to maintain as well. And then we can see our walkable beaches coming here. Great detail in there, some bollards and some rocks and a few trees for the edge of your car parks. Perfect inspiration. Yeah, we can see this sort of trodden pathway right along the front of the beach, can't we, before a little bit of long grass takes over there. So definitely lots of inspiration to be had on Google Earth, of course. Don't forget to keep checking it and referencing it for your builds. It certainly helps me. Oh, we even have what looks like the little floodway there as well, don't we? I hadn't noticed that in Havasu before, actually. This is literally what we have. Coming in to Ilos, isn't it? Where we have that slipway coming out of the downtown. So definitely inspiration to be had, right? But before we do continue on with our tourism beach stuff, I would like to implement another ferry stop into the ferry network here. So let's see where we can place you. And then bring it out. I'd like to bring it a little further onto the water than that, I hope. Possibly about there. Now I do want to displace a little bit of water here, because I can kind of see where I want my beachfront to continue. Because I want to see if we can drag out a little pathway that's going to make the beach walkable, because I really want people walking on the beach. It would be just a great aesthetic. Cool, so now let's bring these two down together. We'll go for an angle snap, and a curve tool should see us through. Okay, we can bring that in there. And let's not forget our little stubby robusta palm as well. Let's go ahead and get that in here. We do need to provide a service point for this pedestrian area too, if we're going to have things on the road here. But I'd rather not use the service points. We'll see if we can maybe just drag it onto this road here and then have it align with the pedestrian area. Or the pedestrian road. And then we can maybe paint out some of its textures so it looks like it's meant to be here, and we can try and factor it into our overall beach theme. Some trees around it will help, right? Maybe a few stalls along here too, I think maybe might be quite nice. But of course we'll see, right? We'll see what happens with it. Let's go ahead and grab our public transport lines now. Cool, so hopefully they should stop now. It would be great if you would actually sort of listen to my orders. It would be tremendously helpful. There we go, there's the regular ferry coming back out now. Seems to be a little bit more appropriate, I hope. Hopefully it's not too bad now. Okay, but otherwise that is going to give us our ferry connection here. So then to encourage them to walk, I'd just like to have this run down here. Now of course we'll surface paint this as well, but I would just love to have someone walking here. It made my day. Damn it, now she's using the pathway on the road instead. No one wants to walk on my beach. Very upsetting, everyone. Maybe one day, hopefully this episode, someone will come and walk on it. But I do like the fact they actually walk in this little middle, like, central reservation bit. That's very cool. I'm a huge fan of that. Wonderful. Anyway, let's come back onto our service roads now. I'd like to start placing in some more car parking patterns so we can see what's happening in Havasu. So I actually wonder if it's... Might as well just upgrade this road here into service road. I do like using the service road as an actual network. It's a nice sort of road. I like the cracks in it, the sort of unmaintained look, if you like. Cool, so with this one here, I think what we will do is just go and hook into the road. And then we'll paint up our middle with a little bit of concrete. Again, great place for some of those concrete roof covers that we use to protect people from the sun. And then I think I definitely will extend that grass out here. And then what we can do with this space is... See, up to there. I remember doing it'll have some overgrown areas here, like we're seeing in Lake Havasu. Yeah, just to have kind of a little children's play area, which we can definitely piece together with some classic park life assets. Let's go ahead and chuck in a climbing frame here. And then an actual park asset itself, probably small playground, would do a wonderful job for us. A dog park as well, let's not forget the old favourite. And then we can do small playground here too. Cool, this is all wonderful. Let's go ahead and shift some angles and move it. Okay, again, we know the power of a shifted angle at this point on the channel. Okay, so we can have that there. And then this is a great little spot to come in to our find it filters. Let's go ahead and search for props and then filter for park. And then hopefully we actually turn off custom. We can just get a nice little selection here of all our little cute playground assets to construct a playground with. We also get our swing set in here as well, perhaps a couple of benches for people wanting to sit and enjoy. These benches, the amusement park ones, actually would be great to sit here, you know. Let's see if we can get these in now. Now we've discovered one of our wonderful little props. Onto the prop line tool, let's increase our spacing a little bit. Big shout out to Freyden as well for letting me know I can scroll the value in the prop line tool. Massively easier than having to type it every time. Right, and there we go, right? They're like perfect, aren't they? I love those little benches. We don't use those enough, I don't think. We definitely don't. Okay, and then I think maybe a little pathway through here again. Again, it's a waste of a node, but it's going to add a little bit more personality into our little park here. Okay, just have that there so then it becomes walkable. And then we'll grab some of our choice trees. And then we can just have this set on the side of the condo, so for those with second homes or those that are coming here to rent for holiday, you know, they just have like a little kids recreation area on the side of the complex that they can take them to. Right. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I like that. Those Korean assets just work tremendously well, don't they? It's like a reformed condo, but of course it's functioning as low density residential. Something you could do in vanilla as well, if you're patient enough with your zoning. Alright. But I'm enjoying it now, right? It's starting to pick up personality. No one as of yet has walked along the beach. I mean, surely that's a faster route, right? It must be a faster route, surely. Maybe I just need to change where it connects in. Maybe we go for here instead, see if that helps them get a little bit more confident with it. We'll wait and see. Or maybe they can actually see the surface painter clip in as well, so they don't have to realise it's there. Probably not, but you never know. Anyone so far? I was always surprised by how busy this ferry network was. Either way, let's see what happens. Just one of you, that's all I need. Yes! Yes! They're walking on the beach! Oh, finally! Yes, please, everyone. Wonderful. Okay, so it will work. They will walk on the beach if we want them to. So now I just need to bring lots more, what's it called, like props along here, so it looks like the beach is actually active and walkable. They're going to head up the hill, right, and then up onto the road. Absolutely wonderful. Cool. So we can generate walkable beach, which is very exciting. What I'm here to talk about is the fact that we have these little condo assets that we've used in Ilos before. Right, and I want to see if we can do something to almost tier these against a little key and then have a little private access marina for them, okay? So let's see what happens with that idea. Let's go ahead now and create the car parking for the condo complex. So we'll go ahead and get our 60 or 16 meter poorly maintained. That should do as a job. Wonderful. We'll come down here. It should be okay, and then we'll just draw out a straight one for right now, and then we'll also do one here as well by 5, and we just want to make sure that all of this stuff here is on the same level. Okay, yeah, so I really want to create that sort of tier effect there, okay? Wonderful. So now if we were to place in our assets, they do need to be aligned to this orientation. So let's see what happens if we grab them and move them here. We'll also do the same thing there too, and then possibly one more time on the side if it's going to allow its connection. It hopefully will do. So just sort of a large block of accommodation or sort of rental homes, whatever vibe and justification you want to give to it. So I think I'm happy with that, right? That's going to be like a nice block of accommodation or rental home, whatever you wanted it to be. So let's take this as the general concept right now. Okay, we've got our 2 condo blocks here that both back out onto the lake. Let's come ahead and grab a key from our content creator stuff, and I think we'll go for simple seawall. It's going to be nice enough, I think. Let's bring this on 5, and then I want to just run it around the back here so it encompasses there. Okay, again, we're going to want to use move it to grab any rogue nodes and just bring them back up to the same height as its friends over there. I'm happy with that. So let's now go ahead and grab just a little mock selection with move it of our current marinas. How about this one here, right? This seems like a nice little one. We'll of course add some more in during our detail and time lapse. But we wanted to add that there. Let's grab move it and configure our heights back around so everyone's playing sensible. There we go. That's what I'm after. Let's grab all those nodes and bring them down again. I really want to accentuate that layer. So just about to the point where the key is about to flood is where I want it to come down to, I think. Wonderful, and then we'll set all those heights to this node here. Cool. Let's see if we can terraform here. It might be a little bit of a tight space, but we'll see what happens. Cool. And then I guess what we could do here now is actually come into pedestrian roads. We'll grab something with sandstone on it. And then with this small pedestrian road here, let's come off of this one. We'll want to turn our snap-ins back on. Yeah, we just want to come down. Meander through here and then come down towards these marinas, hopefully without too much grief. It's going to look very weird. First of all, you're going to have to bear with it, right? Things will take time to displace them for it to work. But I think once we do have that pedestrian path in, we'll set it to the same height as this node over here. Same view as well, same height as the keys. Cool, and then we'll use node controller. Let's go ahead and grab it. And then we'll grab the nodes of the pedestrian road here. And then what I'd like to do is to just stretch it maybe down to about 50%. And then I want to do that for all sections of this pedestrian road. So we're just going to change it down to 50%. And you'll notice it's just going to get nice and thin and it kind of looks more like a pathway. And then we'll do this final one here as well. Let's go down to 50%. Cool. And then we just get a very narrow, thin pedestrian road that can be used to help. It looks like it's servicing these assets over here. It's a lot of finicky messing about with prop work and stuff, but it is worth it in the end. You will end up with a very cool pattern here. Yeah, and then really just want to line up that pathway or the pier with the key. I guess we could have it lined up actually with the edge of the key, couldn't we? That would also make sense. I guess they'd be able to access it from there. Ignore any water, it's just because we're messing about with buildings in the water, so it thinks it's having the worst time ever. Bring those up, and then what I'm hoping this will create is a sense of like these condos have private marina access, is what I want to sort of happen here, okay? Yeah, I think it's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and see if we can detail it up, bring a little bit more personality into it maybe. Let's go ahead and get some California shorties, right? Always a firm favourite. And then we're going to want to come in with... And then let's grab a tree here as well, see if we can detail it up. Why don't we go for some of these California palms? Always a favourite at this point in Ilos, aren't they? Okay, and then of course we're going to want to surface paint up all that area between. Maybe even a little bit of fencing around these sort of complexes. I think that way then it's going to make it seem that a little bit more sort of private and prestigious. But we'll get a general impression of the thing. Oh, lots of people walking down though. Hello everyone. Hello. Maybe you're just coming from, I wonder. You're heading somewhere. Oh, at least they're here, right? That's what's important. People coming to enjoy the lake. We'll definitely enjoy that, right? Some nice sort of like private condos here. We'll get some fencing out the front of them. Some car parking as well as you come around the side. We'll get some rocks here, which we could have a little look at now while we're talking about it. Why not? Let's go ahead and grab some of our larger workshop numbers, maybe over here. I think something like that will do a job. And then you spin around onto just a little private marina that these condos have access to. And again, it's just another little spot of personality now, isn't it, along our lakefront. Really love the addition of the layers of keys there. That makes a huge difference. Come over here again as well now to see our condos and vibes happening. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the way that the lakefront is developing now. It's starting to get its own personality. So again, just glancing back at Google Earth, there's one more theme I want to cover before we move into a major detail in time-lapse here to tie all of our ideas together. And this is the inclusion of what I can only describe as what looks to be like a really sort of rural fishing spot. So to achieve this, I think we're going to go with our zonable pedestrian boardwalk. There's a couple of options available to us here as to what we want to use. This could be the most appropriate, I think. Or the alternative choice is to actually use a nature reserve pathway. Which again, I think for the vibe I'm trying to recreate here, I think the nature reserve pathway might actually be best. So again, just looking along the shorelines of Havasu, or your chosen inspiration for any sort of build, and we can see that there's like some hefty overgrown bits, and what I am assuming is like a little fishing spot. So by using this road here, it of course is going to recognize itself as a road. And then I'd like to include the fishing pier if at all possible. So let's go ahead and position that so it's roughly at the edge of the road. It's going to maintain its connection. Right there, set it to the same height as the ending node. Cool, so hopefully we will see some people fishing here. Yes, there we go, they are here already. And then immediately around this pathway is just vast amounts of overgrowth. Like it's clearly just been left for nature to reclaim. There's never any maintenance here. And the palette that we see in Google Earth is pretty much the palette that we've developed over by this lake area here. Like when we did our little camping area. So I think we can just grab a good section of this. Let's bring it over. It's a wonderful feature of Move It, isn't it? Just being able to bring palettes over like this. It's like a poor man's copy and paste for intersection marking tool, isn't it? Okay. And then it's just the general vibe here. I think a little bit of nature reserve fencing would be more than welcome for a little bit of a sort of secluded fishing spot by the lake here, wouldn't it? A little bit of something like that. Let's get some of those rocks too. Smaller ones if we can help it. There we go. Perhaps around the base of the shoreline. Some nature reserve assets would go really nicely here as well. I don't see a reason why we can't include them. It's only going to help keep drawing people to the area. And perhaps we can go for maybe the little campfire site. Is anyone going to be angry at that? I don't think I am. Yeah, just a little campfire. That's going to illuminate during the night time as well, of course. But very simple. Okay, simple tourism asset. Some rocks and lots of overgrowth, and we can really recreate something we see in Havasu. Doesn't always have to be sort of overly convoluted Move It tricks and all these mods that we have to play with. Sometimes a bit of Move It is all we can take to create a really fun area. Already got people walking down here as well. Love that. Definitely want to clear that overgrowth off the pathway though. Want to make sure that remains a well-trodden path. And wonderful. There we go. We've got people walking through, and you can see sort of down the lake at the private condos here, and then the holiday lets and the beach over there, and where the ferry's pouring in. You just got all these different little designs across what is a relatively small space, but all has an impact, doesn't it? But we got kind of like 4 really distinct areas of the beach here: the overgrown, sort of the rich, the holiday maker, and then the leisure sort of waterfront. So let's tie it all together. And look at that view as well. Goodness gracious. That view over toward the downtown is something special, isn't it? It really is. But this actually will bring an end to the Lake Havasu build. This is the last thing we need to do over here. And then what else do we have? Western downtown to finish. These networks here that I want to tie together. And then I want to do a border crossing as well somewhere. I'm not sure where we should put the border crossing. Let me know where you guys think it should go. Maybe over here might be the best idea for it. Or the other side of the highway. I'm not sure. Comments down below as always. But we're a long way from that. Let's detail up the Lake Havasu tourism waterfront. Then we'll be right back. guys, so let's have a detailing review, shall we? So around this edge of the lake we've continued with our overgrowth pattern and left this area over here pretty simple, just now hooked in some pathways into it, so this whole sort of lake shore and down to the quays and the marinas and back up to those condos as well all becomes walkable, always appreciated, right? As we zoom around the road, we just see some nice authentic green belt that helps separate the rest of the city into this touristic lakefront with some of those classic sun cover designs that we've seen in Ilos before, just to help shelter the front of the apartments. It also dropped in some of these tram stop covers as well, just because it felt a little bit exposed to the sun out on this pedestrian street. So I thought some shelter near in and by the tram stops might be appreciated. And then this green belt spills onto a place diner from the modern mid-century modern content creator pack. I absolutely love these assets. We've also included a couple of them over here as well, the little motel things. These are really cute. I absolutely love these. So two of these together, a little bit of car parking out front. Then also dropped in some commercial. I had an asset called Pier 1 Imports, which I thought was perhaps maybe like a boating supply store. Might be quite appropriate for the lake, considering there's so many boats around here. So I thought that was pretty appropriate. I'm really happy with that. And then this road goes down now, back toward the lakefront over there. But then as we head back over this way, we come down onto the waterfront where we have some tables and some hedging. And some ice cream and some food truck stalls next to our marinas, which head back down to the overgrown bit. And then plenty of Ilos flags around here where we are in a marina. And then a little tennis court as well, of course, and a bathroom. And I just love this whole sort of like raised condo area. Like the little private marinas here, the tiered condos have such a cool look from the water. Really happy with that. Then as we emerge out of the floodway that comes out of the city, we've gone for lots of rocks and overgrowth around the edge here just to help blend it in. And I'm really happy with how that looks. It's kind of like a natural sort of end to all that water coming out of the downtown into the lake. It's pretty cool. And then over here, again, more car parking with more walkability and assets for the children. Arrive at a little custom cafe using the Park Life Cafe itself on the beachfront. And I just love that now. Look at that little woman walking along in a little yellow sun hat. Yes, please, everyone. That's so good, isn't it? I absolutely love a walkable beach. And then also dropped in some life rings all along the beach as well. These are all over the place, of course, just in case of an emergency, so we can come and get them. And then we have some coconut trees as well alongside our beach, which has turned out really nicely. I could totally imagine just chilling out for the day here, right, enjoying a view over to the lake, maybe catching a boat over to the island to, you know, get pissed and enjoy the roller coaster. Be a really nice time. And then we come back up onto our car park, where again we have more of those tram covers to help shelter people from the sun. And I just love it, you know. I absolutely love this part of the city. This whole view down here with the fencing and the beach and the palms is very much my vibe. I absolutely love this. It's like one of my favourite areas of Ilos. I did also drop in some of the viewing platforms from the nature reserve stuff as lifeguard towers, essentially. And we've got these up and down the beach as well. Again, before we have more life rings, more beach props, another lifeguard tower over here with a little food stall. And it's really organic. It's nice to have some beach props that aren't from the workshop. It really opens up the possibilities here. Definitely a good shout, I think, to surface paint the whole beach. The props were just getting lost in all the grass sprites that come with the regular sort of wild sand, if you like. So it definitely needed surface painting. But I'm really happy with that kind of compressed orange sand on the beach from there. I think that's really cool. Then as we return to the pedestrian road, we allow some green space to sit between our apartment luxury condos and the pedestrian street before we arrive at a little bit of commercial, which has been detailed with fence and chair props. This is just classic nightlife stuff. We've got the karaoke, the nightclub, the seafood restaurant, and Paddy's pub. So just a collection of our favourite nightlife assets. Then dropped in some little cute flower gardens around all the empty space. Dropped in a walking pathway here, so this actually becomes walkable space. Back down towards that ferry terminal, which people are using, which is really cute. And again, just completed these fencing patterns, so this little entrance here looks like it actually goes into the riding stable. And then just blended it all in with lots of bush and palms. And it's really cute, just really happy with it. It's such a nice, organic, naturally flowing area. I'm just tremendously happy with it. I'm not sure why there's a third of a tram there. You alright? What's going on? There we go, you okay? Novaria Lane. I had no idea. Did they all say Novaria Lane? Surely they don't. I'm not just noticing that for the first time, am I? Goodness gracious, they do as well. 37 or very late. I hadn't noticed that before. I've had these trams for more than a year as well. Amazing. That was really cool. Big shout out to Blue Thunder for those, of course. Yeah, so happy with this, and then we got some of that desert green back that spills back onto our main infrastructure, which takes people, of course, back onto the lake island whenever they want it. And then it spills back down onto our ferry stop over here. So I thought we could, switch out the ferry for a windsurfer. Okay, so this is never not going to not be hilarious. So this guy is actually our ferry, but yeah, so we switched him out using the mod that's been causing our vehicles to switch around the whole time. Because it makes it look as though that the water is active, right? Like it's an active waterway, like people are actually windsurfing on the lake. Which they definitely would, right? So I think we can get away with that. Look how much light he gives off as well. Only a windsurfer. Oh, that's never not going to be hilarious, is it? So he's just going to move around and collect people at the stops. Because of course the game thinks he is a ferry, which is just the most hilarious thing, right? So yeah, really happy with that. And then I absolutely love the fact that we can just see all of kind of high density metropolitan Ilos behind us with Main Street and downtown, and of course the sprawl of the Mile Grid all behind it now. Really settles in. Just I love the view from here, right? Definitely enjoying the view on the lake before heading back into the city. Once the weekend is over, and this does complete our Lake Havasu area now. We've got the suburban, the transport hub on the island, all the nightlife in the marinas, and now this beachfront and overgrown areas, and yeah, the Lake Innit area has just really come together. Just tremendously happy with it. But otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, likes, comments and shares below really do help me out equally as much. If you haven't enjoyed it, then please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Thank you so much again for all the support still on Ilos. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it so much. It's still an absolute joy to put together, and as long as the PC can still handle this city and its ever increasingly unstable simulation, we will keep playing it and keep building it until the game no longer says no, because I'm just loving it and I'm quite almost sad and reluctant to move on from Ilos. It's a special project and one that I care for a lot, so I hope you guys are still enjoying it. Please do enjoy your cinematics, but I will shut up and leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.